Manga.
I have a sister who's a little younger than me. We fight a lot, but she was so cute to me. Maybe because we don't have a father. She never went to cram school, but she's smart. Goes to the national stadium when she runs, wins prizes when she draws, and I'm proud of her. I wanted to send her to college with my earnings, but she said she wanted to work early herself to make things easier for her mother. But her boyfriend, who followed her around whether she broke up with him or not, forced her to stay in the relationship, as she later told me. She ended up getting married as soon as she graduated from high school. She seemed happy when she would sometimes come home with her kid, but one day, when my sister came home, I thought it was strange that she wore long sleeves, even though it was hot. But when she rolled up her wet sleeves while doing the dishes, I discovered that her arm was covered in bruises. I was shocked. "Hey, what happened to your hand?" I asked, and she jerked her body for a moment at my words, then mumbled.
I realized how easy you were on me. When the guy actually punches you, you really go blank and black out.
She said. I couldn't take in what she was saying for a moment, but soon realised it was a bruise inflicted by domestic violence. Me and my sister were in the kitchen, and my mum was relaxing in the living room. "Come over here for a minute." I pulled her by the hand and took her into my room and urged her to tell me everything. Then, I found out that my sister lives in a public housing complex with 2 rooms and a kitchen, but she's being forced to live with her in-laws, where 6 people live. She's sometimes made to stay at her in-laws' house, but since it's an apartment, there are not enough rooms to begin with, and not a lot of space to live together. After that, she told me that she was beaten and kicked by her husband and stepfather. My sister, though strong-willed, is short and has a slender body. On the other hand, her husband's family members are all tall and strong. Getting beat by people like that was like an adult against a child, no matter how much she tried to resist. Speaking of her father-in-law, he has been moving from job to job due to his drinking problem, and now he works part-time at a mahjong parlour. Her mother-in-law was such a bum that she had a lover and worked at their snack bar, and asked my sister if she wanted to work there as a hostess. Sister-in-law 1 is a mistress of a right-wing leader and a hostess, and whenever something goes wrong, she shows her tattoo to settle the matter. Sister-in-law 2 is a hostess and also appears in adult videos. According to her, this was a step for her to become an actress. As she spoke, the things she had been holding back began to flow out of her with tears. I was stunned as I listened. Finally, my sister said,
I can't live like this anymore.
She said in a strained voice. Incidentally, it was the first time I had ever seen my sister crying as a grown woman, and I was so angry inside that I couldn't hold it, and I involuntarily put so much force into my fist that it shook. Furthermore, my sister discovered that her husband had a large loan after she got married, and only gets $60,000 out of her paycheck. From there, she has to give $30,000 for her husband's allowance and $30,000 on living expenses, not including food, and she can barely afford to eat 1 meal a day. She wore lots of layers of clothes, trying not to worry me and our mother, but her legs, hands and face were thinner than before, and I knew something was wrong. But I thought she was just having a hard time raising her kid, and had no idea this was happening. I showed her the forum with toxic parents because I had started looking at different forums on the internet after my sister's baby was born. You're brainwashed. If you can't beat them with force, beat them back with your head, I told her. And when I told her, but if you don't have the energy to do that anymore and you want to get out now, I'll do whatever I have to do to break it off and go beat up both of them. She felt like she had someone she could count on, and there was life in her eyes. And from there, she went for revenge. When she checked off the box that said spouse, she was told she was being provided for, but then she explained the meaning of a spouse. To those who laugh at the news of the death of a middle-aged man due to shock from excessive bleeding, she explained the meaning of hemorrhagic shock to them. Anyway, she would sneer at them every time they laughed at her. They would almost punch her when she talked back at first, but as she kept the smile on the corner of her mouth, This is why I hate kids who don't know anything about the world. I took a pathetic woman like you, and you have the cheek to talk back to me. Get out. And my sister was kicked out. But when my sister came home from my parents' house, she decided to record everything and get revenge on these guys. So she took the recorded video, tapes, and recorded conversations of abusive language on the drive recorder along with her kid and took it to the lawyer on the spot and sued. By the way, I paid for all the lawyers. I wanted to get in there and mess up the husband and his father. But we both need money to live from now on, and I thought money was the best way to get revenge on that whole family. So I looked up lawyers who were strong against domestic violence and told my sister about them. We not only had evidence from my sister herself, but also from videos, audio tapes and so on, so they were completely screwed. When my sister told her husband that she was divorcing him, he was furious, but I had evacuated her to our parents' house. So one time, when her husband... "You got to be kidding me! You think you can divorce me?" came and lashed out, I'd already handed over the evidence to the lawyer, and I had no intention of letting her go back to my parents-in-law's house again. "Thank you for everything you've done to my sister," and smiled right in his face. He never came back again. My sister won $5 million in alimony, child support and medical treatment from the divorce, including domestic violence and the poor living conditions she was forced to live in. Furthermore, her father-in-law and husband were to be arrested because my sister had reported them for assault and disorder and had all the evidence. She was physically thin and emotionally disturbed because she was living at home with her husband and her in-laws' house. But after returning to our parents' home and the support from my mother, who learned about the situation and being able to live without problems with money, turned her expression brighter and brighter. After the divorce, she started looking for a job while our mother watched her kid. My sister had always been capable, so she found a job at a major company in about 2 weeks. Our mother works part-time and I live at home, and I had a good income, so I could provide for my sister who has a small child. But my sister...
I want to work so that we can live together properly from now on.
So my mother and I decided to support her and help her. She got a job. Money from alimony and medical bills came in, so my sister was trying to move out of the house right away. But it's been a long time since you've been out in the real world, and it's pretty hard to raise a child on your own while working, so you should just stay here a little while longer. When I told her,
I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused.
She apologised, but I was worried she might get into trouble again out of sight, and that was harder on me mentally, so that was the better option. When my sister first evacuated to my parents' house, she was glad that the water and electricity were not cut off, as she had been living in such a poor environment. She was happy that there was stuff in the fridge, and when I bought her new clothes.
Are you sure about this expensive stuff?
She'd reluctantly say. And when my mother, who is such a good cook, put several side dishes on the table.
Are you sure I can eat this much?
She would ask her hesitantly.
I ate breakfast and lunch today, and now I'm allowed to eat dinner too?
Even words like that came out. It was really hard to see our mother crying secretly, as she didn't realise the environment she was put through. But my sister is now living a powerful life, eating breakfast, working at a company, and taking care of her kid as best she can. Watching her like that made me feel happy. By the way, after that, her ex-husband and ex-father-in-law were arrested, and with the alimony and other expenses, the family's funds ran out in no time at all. I also heard that the store where her ex-mother-in-law used to work stopped receiving customers after the rumours about this incident. I don't want to remind her of a difficult past, so I won't share that information with her, but I hope they all experience the hell she had to go through.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. What did you think of today's episode? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on today's story. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe!